What's up, YouTube? I'm your boy No715. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Killer Kicks. And today we have an unusual topic slash review. So we're talking about hats, in particular fitted hats and snapbacks. I've always been a fitted hat guy. Me, growing up in the Bronx, this was like everywhere. I mean, from 50-year-old guys to kids, 50-year-old old ladies, 60-year-old old ladies to like the youngest girl that you could think of. I mean, this was a uniform in the Bronx. Everybody had one of these. And it was the team to represent. And I've always been a fan of the Yankee hats. Probably, I would put it in the top 5 of nice fitted hats that never disappoint. Classic colors, just never disappoints. I would have to say second, obviously, like the Mets, because that royal and that orange is just so, it just goes together. Like, I could wear that hat 100 million times. Like the Mets, that royal and orange is so nice. So I've always been into fitted hats, as a kid. And, fitted hats was one of those things where fitted hats was like equivalent to like sneakers, where you can't go to like a restaurant, no hats. They did have no hat policy, no sneaker policy. So, yeah, it was like pretty interesting, like growing up as a kid. And then, moving over here to Philadelphia, there was this one store in Philly called Total Sports, and Total Sports was it. Sadly, I was like, I was a young buck, I was a kid, I ain't have any money, but I could say that I've been in the store, and it was like walking inside a candy store, like jerseys everywhere, matching hats. Like, it was just like an amazing, the look of that store in the South Street location was just amazing. And then that store disappeared. So in terms of Philly, it was kind of hard to get a fitted hat. Unless if it was like, like you was going to like a Lids. But the thing that always separated Lids to like a normal hat was Lids always was current. So whatever new era hat was current, that's what they were carrying. So if your green brims, your gray brims, you really wasn't finding. I mean, it was scattered, but Lids normally would cater to whatever is current for new era. So then, like the hat scene had a weird phase that like I kind of just like fell back from it, because I didn't understand it. Not only I didn't understand it, but I didn't cater to it, because it was just like weird. But there was this thing that was going on where these stores were making hats that match your sneakers. So it was like patent leather 11 Yankee hat to go with your patent leather, your Concords, like Concord Yankee fitted hat to go with the Concord sneakers, or like Space Jam Yankee fitteds to go with your Space Jams. And I always found that like kind of weird, because I've never, even to this day, I've never been that of a matching guy that I want my hat to like match my. There was a crowd for it, There was a community of that in a weird way, and these were stores, I guess, that, they didn't want to shut down or anything like that, so they catered to that. But it was horrible. It was just like, it was like the worst thing. So it's like a weird phase, and then there's like no, I mean, to this day, 2021, there's no fitted hat store here in Philly. I wish that, somebody would come to Philly. I remember talking to people, even at Cap Swag, like I'm like, yo, man, like you need to come to Philly. And, I would say, there was always like a million excuses as to why not. People think, it's weird. People think that they know what the people want, and they actually don't know until until it happens. Then when it does happen, and then somebody does come and they do, make a store, then it becomes oh man, I should have did it. But people don't know. You don't know what the people want until you actually do it. So like, if you look at a whole entire city like Philadelphia, you see that there's not even one fitted store, then that should tell you something. Like, it should tell you something. Like, I would open up, like if I had the money, I would definitely open up a fitted store here in Philly, because people would buy it. But again, you have to start off with I think that people in their mind, it's like they want a line to go down the block. And like, it's not going to be like that, But anyways, so that was like the weird phase. And then, there not being anywhere to buy fitted. That's why I always catered a lot to like Supreme hats, because you really didn't have to worry too much about the sizing. Does it fit? Does it not fit? There will be times where I'll go to Liz and they don't have the hat that I'm looking for. So, we could special order it. Like, it was just like a whole bunch of like nonsense. And, like I just like kind of just like stood away from it. Now, and this was the last hat that I bought myself. This hat, I bought this hat about, I would have to say about like 8 years ago, I want to say. There used to be a time where you could go to Supreme, camp out, and still have like the whole day. So it was like one of those days where I camped out with Sneaker Freaker. We was out the store by like 10:45, so I still had like the rest of the day. Never been to the Kith store. He's like, yo, let's walk. We walked to the Kith store. It was the summertime. We walked to the Kith store. I came across the lids. I saw this hat. Okay. 1903, 1952, the 50th anniversary. And I bought it, and I exhausted the hell out of it. I mean, it's, pretty dirty, but I always keep the outside real clean. And how do you do that? It's by a lint brush. I don't have one behind me, but I always, so I take like really good care of this hat, because at that time it was like the only hat that I had. Now there's like a new wave that's going on. There's like a lot of interesting things that are going on, and this is where I get into like the review portion. But there's pages and there's companies that's doing unique things. I don't know, and it's a small community, to be honest. It's a small community. I don't know what the longevity is going to be, but I'm happy that it's happening now. And who knows how far these people are going to take it. But, big shout out to Hatclub. They're the one company that I've been ordering from, and I'll show you a couple of their products. Shout out to Jaetips. He's a single guy who's like really doing a lot in the fitted hat community. And the difference between a hat club and like a Jaetips is like, like I said, it's like one single guy, where it's like Hat Club, you go on their website, it gives you like that, and not in a cheesy or corny way, but it gives you like that sporting goods type of like look. Like when you go on their website, it's a professional website. I'm like, I look at their thing, I'm like, man, they probably have a fucking like store like somewhere, because what they have, and the way that they present things on their website, is dope. Where as a Jaetips is like one guy, He has the like the Shopify website, things that everybody is doing. So I'm going to show my collection that I have so far with these individuals, and I'm gonna talk about like just some of the interesting things that is going on. So I'm gonna start off with Jaetips. Okay, so this was my first hat that I bought with Jaetips. Okay, Yankees. Okay, you got a Yankees fitted hat, and on the side it says "Forever" on some fly. So that's the one thing that I liked about it. And then on the back it says Savior. That's like his signature thing. And when I saw this, I was like, yo, this shit is like pretty flames. You know what I'm saying? You have your gray brim in the bottom. And I love the way that this fits. I mean, it's I mean, I can't say anything bad about this hat. So this was like my first hat that I bought, and I was satisfied. Now, one of the things that Jaetips was making a lot of noise for was these two hats right here. Okay, and this was when I saw things, and I'm like, wow, like this is like kind of interesting. I've never seen this before. But I'm gonna start off with the Subway series. Okay, so Yankees Subway series. Now, what stands out about this hat is more of the colorway and what he's like the like the small little details that he's done. So there's no Savior in the back and there's no stitching on the side, but you have your Subway series, and then you have your icy blue, which when I saw this I was like, I have to have this. But you have your icy blue brim in the bottom, and you have your icy blue MLB logo in the back. So this hat is insane. It was selling out crazy fast, and it was reselling for like a crazy amount of money. I'm talking about like $120, and I was like, wow. So he released this hat, and I was like, me coming from the world of Supreme, I was like fast enough to get this hat, and I was able to get it. So this was like my first hat that I bought. This was my second hat that I bought from Jaetips, and I was very, very happy with this. Another colorway that he was, that he got known for was the purple. Okay, and this is like really new because as you can see, you got the 2000 patch. So this is a purple, but then this has a pink brim in the bottom, and then you have your pink. You have your pink MLB hat, your pink MLB logo. So yeah, and the material, the type of material on this is like very soft. You know what I'm saying? It's real soft. So it's not like your typical like Yankees where it's like a little bit like more rough. Like this is definitely like more soft to the hand. I'm not really good like with these like describing like these type of materials, but they're definitely very soft to the tip. So these are like the two hats that is like when you say Jaetips, this is like what he's known for. Like these two colorways right here. Like everybody's dying to get these two colorways. And then the last thing which I got from Jaetips, kind of an introduction to another hat company called 22, and he did this collaboration. Okay, and it's kind of interesting because obviously it's half Yankees, half Mets logo, and then you see his Forever on some fly, and then on the back you see the Savior. So they have their own patch. Okay, the Savior Series 2020. And the interesting thing about this hat is it's not so much that this is a green brim, is that it's suede. This is a suede green brim. So this is like pretty interesting. Now, when I ordered it, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was like kind of like on the fence because of this little peak. I'm not a big fan of it. But it's not the best, it's not the worst. This is probably one of the hats that I wear like less, because I'm like, one day I'm gonna like it. But I hardly don't wear, I hardly don't give this hat a lot of wear, to be honest. I probably should sell it, at least to give somebody else that that like. So that same company, 22, made this hat, and this was their thing only, and this was insane. So obviously you have like the Chicago Bulls, and then you have the UNC logo. Again, you have like that tip, but I don't know why on the red one it doesn't seem as bad. You really can't notice it. You have like this patch on the side, insane. You have the 22 with the wingman, and then on the side you had this patch right here. When I saw this hat, and then again you have a gray suede, as you can see. Like if I go like this, you could kind of see like the brushes, a gray suede brim, which is interesting. Again, this is like one of like the things where I'm saying that a lot of these people are doing interesting things with hats that I've never seen before. That makes me say like, damn, like this is kind of, this is fire, So okay, so that's that company. So now the next company I want to get to is Hatclub, and I don't have that many. I'm actually waiting on a package, but I don't have that many because you have to have extra fast fingers. But I'm happy with what I have, to be honest. So let's start off with the first. I have this A's in black. You have this pink brim. And then you have your MLB logo in the back. No side patch. But this is a clean hat. You have like your peach. And then you have that same pink that's in the bottom. The outline of the peach is that color. And then you have your orange. So, very typical, to your Apple Yankees hat. There's like a copycat of that, right? So Atlanta Braves. The other hat that I have that I bought from Hatclub is this Yankees hat, which is insane. Okay, and we're gonna go through the patches. Okay, so you have your Yankees, you have your park logo, your hot dogs, cart. Which if you're in Manhattan, you're definitely gonna go to one of these carts. Your inauguration patch, the Big Apple, the Brooklyn Bridge, and then Empire State. And this hat is insane. You have a gray brim. The one thing that stands out about this hat is that you can see Hatclub actually does have a stamping on the bottom, which I think is pretty cool. I think that they should do that with all their hats. So that's one thing that I saw that was like pretty unique. And then lastly is this green LA Dodgers. I don't know why I always have this thing where it's like I buy a hats that I would never buy, and then for whatever reason they win the World Series. I don't know why that happens. I buy a hat and I wear it, and then that day, like, that team wins against the team that I live in Philly. Like, it's like a weird thing. I don't know. But I got this Dodgers hat, and I got it in green because green is one of my favorite colors. You see the MOB in green and gold, just like this. And then the bottom is icy blue. So that's one of the things about this that you know, one of like my favorite things. And this gold patch is insane. It's like gold and yellow. So, you know, pretty interesting. And I do have one hat that's on the way too. But like I said, that website, you just have to, I'm not going to tell you how I buy, because that's just the way, you know, I don't use any bots or anything like that. You know, you just have to be on point. Now, the next hat company that I'm going to be talking about, which is not a hat company, it's more of a clothing company, but they do a lot of like unique things, called Union Studios. And Union Studios, they make a series of snapbacks. But one of the interesting things that they do is that they reverse the logo. So I'm going to start off with LA. Okay, so you got the LA. Again, it's kind of crazy that I even bought these hats. But, you know, you got your Los Angeles patch. And then you have your Uniform Studios. That's the name of the store, Uniform Studios. And yeah, and then you have your green brim. I have this one in purple as well, which this one is already sold. I bought it because I thought that I was gonna like it, but I didn't like it. And then last but not least, this hat is just insane. You know, you have your three-peat. Everything is everything is backwards. Uniform Studios, and then you have your green brim. So, so this is all from Uniform Studios. And lastly, you know, which I would say that this is like the first time that I went like out of my zone to actually buy a hat. But this hat that I'm going to show you, and this is actually going to be like a little shout out. He doesn't make these hats anymore. This hat that I bought was like literally like the last of the Mohicans. But it was from a YouTuber, and there was this YouTuber who was making hats, and he was a sneaker YouTuber. He still is. I follow him. You know, we talk every now and then. But I made, he made his hat and I bought it off of him, one Lux. And I think that the cool thing about this hat is like, this would normally be a side patch, but he put it in the front of the hat. So it's kind of cool. And then on the side here, you see, so this is his name, Keezy. You can follow him on Instagram. His name is Keezy. And yeah, he made this hat. It was in 2017. So this is how far I go back with it. And this is a great brim. Yeah, and I've had this when he released it. And yeah, man, pretty cool guy. And we still talk every now and then. But yeah, that's my hat collection. And like I said, these people, you should definitely check them out. Hatclub Jaetips. There's another guy too called Lord Fubu. His hat prices is kind of insane. I mean, I'm not dropping $125 for a hat, but there's people that would do it, and they're numbered, so they're like 1 of 3, 1 of 5. But there's a lot of people that's doing interesting things, like with these fitted hats, and I'm not sure what the community is like right now, but I just wanted to just kind of just like bring to the light of what's going on. So like if you're a fitted hat fan like me, and you want to know where to buy something like these cool hats, these are people that you should definitely be following. So Hat Club on Instagram, Jaetips, and 22, and I think that will kind of like start you off. All right, so I hope, man, that you enjoyed this. I know, man, this is kind of like lifty, but I kind of just had to talk about just like my whole thought process of like hats. And yeah, man, I hope, man, that you enjoyed this. I know, man, that this is kind of like different. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comment section. Until next time, peace out.